Hello, everybody. All right, welcome to the mic stand. Today is Sunday, January the 4th, 2020, 2020. So, and I got to take care of another little thing here real quick while I'm doing that. Rick, I'm going to hand it off to you. If you want to introduce yourself, promote anything. I think you know the shtick, right?
Maybe, just maybe.
And so,
Well, hello everybody. How are you all tonight? Hope you're good. I am, as it says, Rick PIPER, creator of the Canadian Shield, founder and creator of Cross Comics. And as of today, you can get for free off my website a digital copy of the Canadian Shield Ashcan or the digital version of the Canadian Shield 1 remastered. So there we go. Go check that out over on crosscomics.ca. CS Bio 1. You see the link, should see the link there. Okay. Now what to do? We're going to be going over some stuff. Oh, Mike is back.
hi, and there's the link for you guys to check out what Rick was just talking about. If you guys want, of course, a friendly reminder to everybody, if you haven't already, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. With that being said, tonight we're going to be going over books that went on sale from Holyoke Publications in July of 1940. We'll be going over features from Crash Comics Volume 1, Issue 4, and Whirlwind Comics Volume 1, Issue 3. Volume 1, Issue 3 is the final issue of that particular book. So the features we'll be looking at, of course, will be Strongman, Cyclone, and of course, we'll be introducing everybody to Catman. So before we even get into the reading, I'm going to do a little preview, talk a little bit about Catman, some of his publication history. This is Holyoke's version of Catman, Cat-Man. So,
It's time to get catty.
Anyways, with that being said, of course, let me pull that up.
Catman!
Yeah, actually, now this is, of course, not. You just remind me of another little interesting little tidbit there, Rick. This is not to be confused with the Catman character from Filmation. From Filmation's the Weird Tales of Walter Kitty, or something like that.
Okay.
That was a cartoon, but I don't know if you ever saw it. They eventually aired it as part of Groovy Ghoulies and Friends, but it was also aired on its own, in which they had kind of cat parodies of some established heroes.
Okay.
Like they had Catman with Robin, with an actual Robin. They had Robin Cat, or Cat Hood, I think. Cat Zan. So,
okay.
And the Cat Ranger. So all based on, of course, Tarzan, Batman, Robin Hood, Lone Ranger. I think there was one other one as well, but this was a character that Holyoke created back in 1940. So let's get into this, and let me at least make the introductions here of this character, known collectively as Catman and Kitten, because he, like a lot of people, had a teenage sidekick, Kitten, who was a girl in this case. All right, so Catman and Kitten are a pair of fictional superhero characters created by artist Erwin Hasson, Catman, and Charles M. Quinlan, Kitten, with unremembered writers. Catman was first published in 1940 by various Frank Temerson companies. Due to circumstances during World War II, an altered version of Catman was published in Australia and reprinted in the 1950s. AC Comics later revived the characters in the 1980s. Raised in the Burmese jungle by tigers and then returning to America to fight crime in the big city, the character has been described as an odd amalgam of Batman and Tarzan.
Okay.
Well, now we're not going to really get into the fictional, because the fictional character biography, only because it'd be almost redundant because we're going to be reading that anyways. But publication information: publisher Frank Z. Temerson, Holyoke Publishing, first appearance Crash Comics Adventures #4, cover date September 1940, created by artist Erwin Hasson and an unknown writer. In-story information: alter ego David Merriweather, abilities super strength, agility, night vision, and 9 lives. And Kitten was his partner. But anyways, publishing history. In 1940, Tem Publishing Company, one of Temerson's several companies, published a periodical titled Crash Comics. Issue #4 featured the origin and first appearance of the Catman. Crash Comics was replaced by Catman Comics in May of 1941. Although, like its predecessor, the new title was a superhero and adventure anthology merely headlined by the titular character. In 1942, Holyoke Publishing acquired the character and continued publishing Catman Comics. Catman Comics ran for 33 issues. Because Crash Comics ended after 5 issues, believe it or not. I believe.
I guess they really crashed.
Yep. Ran for 33 issues, 12 published by Holyoke Publishing, with the last issue being number 32 due to some numbering inconsistencies. Although through 1946, when Temerson Continental magazines folded, eventually the characters fell into the public domain. So that was the publication history on that. So that's all pretty much we need. We just needed the intro there. So again, with the powers, the abilities, super strength, agility, night vision, 9 lives, basically things associated with the cat, obviously.
Catman and Kitten.
Yeah, so anyways, now let's get to this. So we're going to track down Crash Comics first here. So there's...
Didn't you say under polio or something like that?
Holyoke. HOLYOKE.
Oh, holy.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying P.
Yeah, actually, might have to look under Temerson because it's here in Holyoke. Let's see.
Crash Comic Adventures.
Yeah, it went back and forth between Crash Comics Adventures and Crash Comics. All right. Hold on, I need to take care of something real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay, so I guess nobody's here at the moment. Or if you're here, let us know. Although we don't mind lurkers either. But
Anyways, all right, so fixed one other little problem that popped up there, so hopefully. All right, so that may get down here. So featuring Strongman, the perfect human. Number 4, Crash Comics Adventures. September, Shangra, Buck Burke, The Blue Streak. All
the blue,
stories complete. Oh, what was that, Rick?
the blue streak. I guess he's a Flash type character.
All right.
Speedster.
Can you see all that all right?
Yeah.
All right. Price goes up after this sale. Print boys. Cards, cuts, tickets, labels for real printers, metal type with printer's ink. So I guess they were giving away a printer there.
Oh, it looks like.
Huh?
It looks more like they selling it for like $2.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Okay, can I go back in time and get it for $2?
All right. Strongman, the perfect human. Strongman, the superhuman being of brain and brawn, with a lightning-like mind and the strength of a core of rolling tanks, of this strong man is built. Fearlessly he braves any peril so that right may triumph over wrong. As Percy Van Norton, he and his guest have taken leave of Rutana, and his yacht rides the Mediterranean waves towards America.
Okay.
You want to do that first line right there?
Okay. Look out! There's a boat!
Let me have a look through my glasses. As he looks, he sees the inseparable castmates are rescued, and once aboard Percy's yacht, explain.
We are Scandinavian. We are refugees from Scandinavia. We were put aboard a ship and told to leave the country. The invading The enemy invading our nation has been very cruel to us.
How ghastly. Once we, that's you. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Once we were set adrift, our ship was bombed so that we could not broadcast the cruelty of these invaders.
Our country is helpless in the grip of the madman. Our country is helpless in the grip of the madman Muslim. Alone in his cabin, Percy strips to the garment, revealing him as strongman. And now to return to Europe to clean up some unfinished business. These persecutions must stop.
Strong man, how strong is he?
I hope nobody noticed me. There is a city over there, and this is the time for action. And now for the depot. I don't think those people will mind my using their cars as springboards. This will save time. Success. I just made it.
Geez, a locomotive. At least they're not saying he's faster than it.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something? That would probably get him in trouble. This train better pick up speed or I'll get out and push it.
Well, maybe he is faster than a locomotive.
He arrives in Iro, capital of Scanlandia, and learns from a man in the street.
You ask, where is Gregory, our beloved president? He has fled.
I will find him. But what is that sound? Reminds me of something I've heard before. The tramping of troops. This will be better than a box seat. He leaps a tall building in a single bound. You see that?
No, he just leaps to the top of it in a single bound.
There is Maslov, the tyrant, riding at the head, but I must find Gregory to save Scanlandia. I remember having read Gregory was a woodsman who rose to national significance. He is in safe hiding. He must be in the forest. Strongman invades the almost impenetrable mountain woods. Pushing aside striplings and mossy vines to clear a path. I'll need to bridge those falls.
You can't just jump over it.
I must conserve my energy for the work I have before me.
Wouldn't it take less effort to jump it than to tear down a tree and put it as a bridge and then walk over it?
I guess it depends upon how you use the energy because, um, you know, I guess it depends upon how considering all the jumping he's been doing thus far, a lot of that quick jumping motion is liable to now granted he's a superhero, so it shouldn't really matter. But
Well, it
I guess
depends
the
on how he
way
gets powers too. So
what was that?
I said it depends on how he gets his powers. Like, Superman at this time it was the gravity, but if it was like the sun, where it's getting dark or something,
Well, remember too, in the case of Superman too, and I think it's more of a modern phenomenon than anything else, but they didn't talk about this aspect as much in his early days or even in the Silver Age. But Superman would basically metabolize solar energy, right?
Yeah, but at this point, I think in the comics, it said that he got his powers because of the different gravity between Krypton and Earth.
Yeah. Well, partly, yeah, because I think what they're talking about is,
they hadn't come up with the idea of him being a solar battery, for lack of a better way of saying it.
Yeah. In the early days, I think one of the other aspects that they talked about was that Krypton's gravity was greater than Earth's gravity.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, in other words, it would be like, okay, if
us going to the moon,
we're standing like this, but then we'll be like this on Krypton, like that on Krypton, because
or like us going to the moon, where we could just jump and
or kind of like what I was watching recently when I was just rewatching the Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z episode, and Goku was training in 100 times gravity, and then once he stopped 100 times gravity, he felt light as air because there wasn't the same amount of resistance. But anyways, there, I guess. The point I was about to make is, I guess it depends upon how his stamina is in this case, and how he recovers from exertion. That's where I was trying to go with it. But anyways, there. I guess I get tired of jumping now and then.
Well, that's how they want to explain that. The fact that, it takes more energy. I want to save energy, but I get tired of jumping now and again. So,
Well, I think I kind of understand where he's going with that. I mean, like, because of the fact I can't drive, I do walk everywhere, and I walk some pretty incredible, mileage, right? I can, I've been known to walk as many as 6 miles in, any given trip. Now, granted, I haven't walked 6 miles in one shot in a while. I usually go back and forth about an eighth of a mile up to my corner store and all that. But, or 8/10 of a mile, rather, 8/10 of a mile. But but sometimes when you're on, like, I can tell you from my own experience as somebody who's walked, some pretty long distances, right? Walked miles and miles. Sometimes after a while, mentally you can kind of just lose yourself because it's like, you're just so into the walk. It's almost like you're like on autopilot. You get what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. I think it's funny how what they're using just to justify it. It's a little funny to me. The fact that he tore down the tree when he's trying to save energy.
Yeah.
Just because I'm tired of jumping.
I hear voices. That must be Gregory and his men. My hunch was right, I think. He approaches cautiously, and comes face to face with Gregory and his provisional government.
But who are you?
I have come to place my services at your disposal.
I humbly thank you, stranger, but no one can help us, not even a superhuman. What assurance have I that you are my ally?
You will have to trust me. Well, do you?
I'll have to. I have to have faith in someone. We cannot defend ourselves. Well, well, Molavia's men play. Moslov's men play with their television cameras on our secret troop movements.
At that moment, an enemy plane sights the small figures on the side of the mountain.
A plan of General Mosley's.
Run for your lives!
No, let us not. It shall illustrate my point to this benevolent stranger.
In the enemy airplane,
Oh, continue circulating. Well, I can catch the pictures through the chronoscope. I got it in focus. Now relay it to the base via coaxial cable.
the transmitter is putting a picture on the air. It's fading in.
I'll send it to General Mosley and the field artillery.
The picture is fading and strong. I'll get the range, General Maslov. 2 minutes after the photographer radios the picture and position, the point is shelled. But Strongman, fully convinced of the enemy's threat, jumps from the range of the detonation. I'll fix them. I'll fix them so pictures can't be transmitted. I hope Gregory is safe. Now, to clean up this barbed wire fence out of my way, clean this barbed wire fence out of my way, and then I'll take care of those cannons. Strongman flings himself into the midst of soldiers, hammering them with both fists. Sorry I didn't send in my calling card. Look at that, he's grabbing himself looks like a missile right there or something.
Yeah, the barrel of the tank or whatever.
Crash! And now the finishing touches. There's a stone wall. It must be protecting something. I wouldn't be surprised if I've reached journey's end. Yes, this must be the television base. It doesn't say positively no visitors. This makes a good battering ram Crash! He enters the area and comes up a metal mound. I'll just see what kind of rats live below. He descends, but
Who are you? What country does this uniform represent?
you two make able weapons. He rips a board out of the wall. And further smashing it against the television mechanically. I'm crippling Moslov's attack, but I must counterattack to win. Scanlandia must have planes. I'll borrow a plane from Moslov's airport. Standing on top of the hangar, he sees several planes on the field. There's one that can do the trick. Hold on, where do you think you're going? Actually, wait. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll let you do that one, Rick. Since I've been letting
Hold
you do.
on. Where do you think you're going?
That was a very foolish question, but I haven't time to answer. But
Apparently you did.
But suddenly, an unseen soldier appears from behind. Let's see. Intuitively, Strongman sidesteps as the man lunges. And look at that. It looks like he's giving him a good kick in the you-know-where, in the derriere. Or the arse. Yeah, that's another way of putting it. Now, to take off and set my compass for the United States. And let me just check real quick, see if there's any comments. Nope.
No, nothing. I'll let you know. I got YouTube up. I don't have Rumble up.
Anyways, all right. Anyways, the ascent of the craft has been watched, and a swift pursuit plane prepares to take to the air.
Get that meddler at any cost. He won't get away. I'm gaining speed.
The pursuit gunner levels his machine at Strongman's plane, but a heavy chain. This will do the trick. Clank. That really wasn't sporting, but war is war. But good fortune doesn't hold out for Strongman. Nearing the American coast after many weary hours, his plane, unprepared for Atlantic flight, begins to sputter. It looks like I'll have to take my bath before Saturday. Splash! Yeah, because Saturday baths were common back then.
Nah.
It's only a few miles, and this water is refreshing. Well, why do you think he's saying that? What do you think he plans to do, Rick?
Swim.
Swim? Uh-huh.
Either that or sink to the bottom and walk.
Now, to see the president of Buzzard's Aircraft. Remember, he sold planes to Scanlandia. He's alone, but he won't be in a moment. I have come to see about the planes for Scanlandia.
This is very irregular, even though you say you are the Samaritan strongman.
Did I miss? Oh, no, I guess not. So is war. So are the deaths of millions of suffering beings. Do I get the planes?
The planes are ready for shipment, but we haven't anyone courageous enough to fly them over. We have tried, but Mosley has mistaken
Moslov.
them as prizes of war. Moslov.
I think that's more of an Eastern European type name. So
Yeah,
so it's pronounced Moslov.
Moslov has taken them as prizes of war.
If you will entrust me, I guarantee they will be delivered safely.
Aren't you doing for?
I already did the first. You're doing.
Okay, I didn't hear you do it, so okay.
Oh, okay.
It's risky, but we must help a uh, non
Belligerent.
belligerent who has invaded the American way. That's the American way.
The planes are dismembered for shipment and packed into a giant clipper.
Well, there goes the last of them.
Under cover of darkness, Strongman pilots his precious cargo over the ocean. Ah, morning, and Scanlandia at last. I'll have a look below. Through his binoculars, Strongman sees columns of marching soldiers. That was Maslov riding at the head of his army. I'll surprise him just just setting the controls. I'll surprise him by just setting the controls and dropping the ladder through a heavy curtain of clouds. He descends unsuspectedly. With a firm grip, he takes hold of Maslov as he sits astride his horse. So, do you know what the term astride means, Rick?
Um, oh, I do normally, but where was it?
in the narration right there.
Yeah, okay. With a firm grip, he takes hold of Miss Love and he sits astride. I guess. Well,
I
sits
guess he
well.
basically means sitting on a horse, basically.
Uh, well, it says he sits astride his horse, so it's not. It's how he's sitting. It's sitting well, sitting good, and I think those are really off. Across his horse, maybe more across
Yeah.
first. Well, let's see, astride.
You looking it up?
Yeah.
Fitchozo's here. Hello, Fitchozo. Thanks for dropping in. If you haven't already, you can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and we'll try to answer the questions to the best of our ability.
Okay, it has two sort of meanings here. It says with a leg on each side, so sitting astride his horse with a leg on each side. The other one is extending across. So the port stands astride to the international route. So he's extending across his horse. So yeah, it's like well definitely across, which is said. So
yeah. All right. So, anyways, as we now move on to
hey, Fitz shows up.
Yeah. I hope you don't mind my dropping in on you so unexpectedly.
You interfere, you infernal idiot. I have your
Rick, there was something in the
oh help.
but his cries for aid are stamped out by marching feet. Now, little mighty ruler, behave yourself, and you may come out of this alive.
You infernal idiot. I'll have your life for this.
Won't everyone be surprised by what I brought them? You're one article that couldn't be bought at any price. Meanwhile, Moslov's fleet has entered the harbor and steams towards Scanlandia. In desperation, the Scanlandian navy, outnumbered, devised a rash scheme.
We must surrender now or be blown to bits.
Remove every man. Remove every man from our ships. Then we shall blow them up. Their wrecks will make further entrance into the harbor impossible. The vessels are abandoned. Bang!
Bang bang ain't the great to be crazy. Signal all the ships to halt at once.
We'd think every one of our ships if we tried to penetrate the barrier, Admiral.
Yeah.
Look, an airplane. It must carry necessities for Scanlandia. Man the gun! Shoot it down! They are beginning to fire. If I can only make a landing.
We'll be hit. Tell them to stop.
You tell them they are your men.
You don't know how. You don't have to. You don't have to now. One of the anti-airgun has found its mark.
The plane miraculously lands on the water and does not sink. As he swims, he pushes the wounded plane toward the harbor.
Don't let that man in the water reach the shore. Shoot him. Oh, yes, they're paying attention. I will kill every man who dares fires a shot at me.
The shot failing to find its mark, the battleship resorts to another ready device. With the speed of a comet, it hurtles through the water. This wasn't meant for me. I'll just send it along.
That man is lurking in the water. He must have left from the airplane. Shoot him. He's the one we must get.
Bang! Bang! Struck by the bullet of his own admiral, Maslov sinks below the surface. A well-preserved end. The airplane reaches the foot of the harbor. Easy, men. We'll soon be able to give those thugs a dose of their own medicine. The planes are assembled with all possible speed. These bombs are just what the doctor prescribed. And before the enemy is aware of them, the buzzards snap off with their lethal loads.
Yeah. Oh my. Those planes are headed for us. Prepare for attack.
We are being beaten. What shall we do?
Do, you fool. I'll tell you what we'll do. Shell the city to retaliate.
Run for your lives! With his characteristic bravery, Strongman leaps into the water in the face of the enemy's shell fire.
Well, he wasn't shellfish at all.
And swims the 2 miles underwater to the flagship, which is anchored. Now, to put an end to all this, and pulls the anchor chain until the ship capsizes. The enemy is annihilated, and the triumphant buzzards return. One more thing, and then I can call it a day. Now, to find President Gregory. And apparently endless search ultimately is climaxed. I had a hunch you were still alive. I have come to take you back to your people. I have put an end to Maslow and his treachery. He returns the aged statesman to his seat of government, where a courier of the enemy awaits. You want to be the messenger there, the courier?
Okay. President Gregory, I have bring word that my nation's forces have been routed. We yield, and I have been instructed to tender an unconditional surrender with surrender. What do you demand of us? I want nothing from your government but to protect ourselves well as a as well as smaller countries from further invading. Your tyranny has been stopped and must be stayed that way. That is all I ask for.
The integrity of Scanlandia safely restored. Strongman heads for his own yacht. Now for my yacht. I wonder whether they noticed my absence. You should be ashamed of yourself, Percy Van Norton, keeping to yourself in your cabin all this time while we looked after these unfortunate people. I apologize. I was asleep and dreamt that Scanlandia had been freed of the shackles of war.
Mr. Van Norton just had a report that Gregory has regained his country. There is once more peace in Scandinavia.
That is wonderful. Now we can take these people back to their country. Well, Percy, you certainly did have a dream, didn't you? But that is all you do is dream and nothing else. Oh, I suppose so. Read the new adventures of the perfect human, Strongman, in the next issue of Crash Comics. All right, so we're done with that story. Rick, overall impressions.
Yeah, wasn't super impressed with him. But obviously, he's a Superman wannabe, but not as good in my case. I sort of like the name. They could have done something more. I'm just not sure what. Perfect Human, I doubt that. Not even close.
Hmm.
Like this guy wants to, he has to rest. So, I don't want to be whatever. So, thing with the tree again. Talking about Ray. I want to keep some of my energy for later. Oh, let's tear down the tree instead of just doing a quick jump across this river. I'm sure it took a lot more energy to pull that tree out of the ground.
But maybe for all we know, maybe the recovery time is faster just to pull the tree out than to make that long jump, stamina wise.
Yeah, it's not that long of a jump from what they showed with the tree. And the tree's going across the river. It can't be that long of a jump.
All right. Well, maybe that's just how they justified it. But
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah. Oh, of course. And then he said, "Oh, I just feel tired of jumping all the time." So that's why I did the tree. Although, I'm supposed to be resting. to conserve my energy.
All right. So, anything more you want to say before we get ready to move on to
Nothing I can think of at the moment.
Yeah, I just realized something. So, if Strongman is let's just say for the moment, Strongman is Holyoke's version of Superman. We're also about to read Catman, which they acknowledged was kind of a combination of Batman and Tarzan, right?
So yeah, they're Batman.
You kind of got your Superman and Batman features in this,
And
or
Robin.
version of them.
Superman, Batman, and Robin. I wonder whether we'll get a Wonder. Well, the blue streak is Flash, right?
I'm not sure. I don't remember off the top of my head, but
Well, with a name like Blue Streak, it would seem like he goes fast. And I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab something to drink.
All right, so now let's move on to the next story here. It's going to be a little bit quick because I think this one's only like 6 to 8 pages. The Catman. Crash Comics sensational new character. Out of a world of lust for power, many men have risen to great heights. Some
Catman, Catman.
Some have achieved greatness by force, others by birth. Out of this,
Talking to me, I can't hear you. Don't got my headphones on yet. Okay.
all right.
Were you saying something to me or just reading?
No, I was reading, but I didn't even know you had taken your headphones off. All right. Out of this came David Merriweather, a child destined to greatness. David's father was a scientist who devoted his life to tropical specimens. We find the family in deepest India, where William Merriweather is in the midst of his scientific research. You want to be William there?
Okay. I should complete my collection of tropical butterflies next week.
I'll be glad to be home. I'll be glad to be home, Mummy. Shh, little David is asleep inside. Oh, actually, that's a little girl. I'll be glad to be home, Mummy. Shh, little David is asleep inside. Suddenly, the family is attacked by jungle wildmen.
Stand back, you barbarians!
Ngola, Ubi. Oh boy, and look at the art there. Look at the art.
Yeah. Well, they're in Africa, right? So
that was the times, people.
Yeah.
Obviously, wouldn't condone that now, but that was the times that they were in.
Well, the thing is, they are in Africa, and they're at the time there was a lot of uncivilized people back there. There
Well, I
still
wasn't
are.
as much talking about that. Yeah, Rick, I wasn't talking as much about that. I was talking about the art specific.
Oh,
Look at how they drew the faces there.
Oh, yeah.
In other words, dark skin, big lips. That's considered offensive. Some people find that offensive because it's a stereotypical look for black people.
Yeah, having big lips. Yeah.
That's the point I was getting at.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
And the Merriweathers are all killed except baby David, who, unknown to the savages, is asleep in his basket. A hungry tiger. A hungry
Tigress.
tiger. A hungry tigress, prowling in search of food, comes upon the tragedy.
And eats the family.
Uh, yeah, it's definitely trying to be Batman. Uh, Suddenly, the beast's attention is drawn to the baby inside. Wah! With motherly instinct, the animal seems to sense the tragedy occurred that just occurred. She lifts the child out of the basket and carries it as one of her own cubs. Look at that. She's got a hold of his diety.
Yeah. Yes. She eats his family, then takes the kid home to raise.
From this point starts his career. The tigress takes David, and under her protecting care, he grows up with her cubs. He learns the language of the jungle, and when he reaches manhood, saves one of his adopted brothers from death. The old tigress, in a in a in appreciation, rewards him by leading him to a civilization of mankind. Through years of jungle association, David is endowed with all the faculties of the cat family, to which tigers belong. He can see in the dark, leap from a tree and buildings. His eyes glow and light up in the darkness. His return to the world we live in finds him a disappointed edition. The evils of the world scar his sense of righteousness so that he decides to devote his life to combating evil. Time passes, and we find him in our world. Due to his marvelous exploits, he becomes known as the Catman.
They certainly skimmed over a lot there, and I have a lot of questions. Like, okay, he's raised by cats, and somehow he has a sense of justice. Um, uh, Living in the jungle, um, he would see animals eat other animals. He would, to him, it would be eat, or be eaten. And I don't think it's just one family of kittens that he would have been raised with. It's several, because those kittens, by the time he was one, those kittens would be like half grown to full adulthood, if not adults.
Well, the thing is, if the tigress, right, tigress saw him as one of her own, then she would have naturally, even taking into account that he obviously wasn't a tiger, you
Yeah.
know, she would have
Well,
taken maybe she would have taken special care to train him in the ways of cat lore, and they would have lived as such as a family to where they all would have probably
yeah.
been
uh,
acting together.
All I'm saying is he would have had several cat brothers and sisters, because cats get pregnant once a year. You normally have a litter. They're grow The litter grows up within a year. Now, I'm going by domesticated house cats, but okay, maybe it's not quite the same for big cats. Maybe it is. I'm not sure, but at most every 2 years. So you know, all the tigers
Well,
that he would grow up with, by the time he's two, or
mhm.
by the time he's four, we'll say, he's gone through a couple different sets of litters of cats.
Well, there's also the idea, because I know you guys are, I don't know, well, how would he have a sense of justice? Well, maybe in this case, the writers here, we don't know who the writer is, because we know that what the artist who created it, that Irwin guy, but we don't know who the writer is. Maybe the writer is in some ways maybe using justice almost as a substitute for honor, right?
Well, they wouldn't even have that, cats. There is no.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, because look, you have loyalty and honor to your pride,
Yeah, I wouldn't call for them. It wouldn't be loyalty or honor. It would. There's an instinct in them.
Again, though, it might just be. It might be for the cats. It might be instinct, and maybe that's just how the writer is choosing to articulate it, right?
Yeah,
maybe that's the word usage he's used. Maybe he's articulating that instinct that they have to protect one another is, at least in the writer's point of view, justice.
Yeah,
it's just. Not, but as we know, these writers don't always make a whole lot of sense.
Okay, Fitzchosen says big cats age slightly slower, which I thought they could, and he says tigers reach adulthood at 3 years. So every 3 years, we're not sure how old he is technically in the first little bit, but say he's under 3. So by the time he's 4, she's had one set of cubs, and they have reached adulthood. Again, 6, 9, 12, 4 different litters by that time. Fitzjoseph says tigers don't have the instinct to protect each other. Most cats don't. I'm not sure what that
maybe in this world they do. Maybe in this world they do.
Yeah.
Remember, we're dealing with another world entirely here. We're dealing with the world of
but they're taking it all based on, usually at this point in comics, based on the world that we live in. That most of the things are very similar, if not the same. But like I said, I have a lot of questions, and we're not going to answer them all. And we could be here all night discussing.
Yeah, well, I mean, we know that these writers had some very,
exaggerated
interesting thought processes.
Yeah, and you know what? They were probably just trying to copy Batman, and they thought cat bat rhymes, so maybe we'll get some people. And let's throw some Tarzan in where Batman threw Zorro in. They were just trying to do something. I get that. Ultimately, it's just with the skim over and all that. It's like there were so many things that. And I get maybe some people back then, most people might not be. I know in some ways they were more educated, but in some ways they were less educated back then. So they may or may not know all these little bit of tidbits of facts that I'm spewing out. Right. Anyways, I think we should get on with the story.
Yeah. A detective gangster program is being broadcast. Here's a bank.
Wow, keep the machine gun handy.
I'll be on the lookout. David Merriweather listens to the program in his room.
I'll keep the machine gun handy. Sorry.
This is a swell program. And as the program is being enacted on the air, suddenly it turns to reality as real gangsters invade and hold up the radio station.
Is that the same guy? Which guy did I do before? The blue guy or
Yeah, you're the blue guy right there.
yeah? Let that flatfoot have it with the machine gun.
Back in David's room. Something's funny about the sound of that machine gun. Sounds like Morse code. He senses trouble. That machine gun sounds like an SOS. I have a hunch something is wrong at the studio. He climbs down the side of the building to investigate. There's not a minute to waste. He arrives at the broadcasting building and climbs up the studio floor. I have a feeling that Machine Gun's SOS was not accidental. The Catman arrives a little too late. The hoodlums have left the studio. I'll have you free in a jiffy.
Who are you?
Why, you're the character known as the Catman. I've heard of you. How did you know we were in trouble? It's a good thing I know the Morse code. I recognized your signal over the radio.
Signal? What do you mean? That was just gunfire in our program. Those monsters came here and kidnapped Stella Richards.
At Bill Jackson's hideout.
You're a smart game. Play ball with me, and I will treat you right. Double cross me, and you'll regret it.
I'll die before I use my program for your crooked schemes.
And the fact that he arrived late doesn't surprise me at all because, like wherever he is, he has to get out of his place, go all the way over to wherever the studio is, and then he's climbing up the side of a building.
The Catman, in his many fights against evil, knows Bull Jackson and his hideouts. He leaves the studio and, sensing the gangster's whereabouts, finds them. I'm on your trail again, Bull. Crash!
Who are you? Let him have it.
You were both of the bad guys there.
Oh, okay. It's the cat. It's the Catman. Give it to him, boys. Again. Give it to him again, boys. Gosh, he's dodged those bullets.
That's a slow gun you've got there. A bullet smashes the light.
Holy mackerel. His eyes are like searchlights.
Watch this, boys. Like a cat, he springs from the room and clings to the building wall. Don't be afraid, I'll protect you. Huh? And leaps to safety by landing on the roof of a building across the street. He wanted me to signal his men every evening on my program so it would help him operate easier in staging holdups. Before they get very far, one of Bull's henchmen spots them from an adjoining roof.
Ah, there they are.
An unused old chimney.
They're right underneath. Now this can't miss him.
At Bull's headquarters,
We got him on the roof. Well, Bull, we got them on the roof. Good work. Have them taken to our prison.
in Bull Jackson's dungeon like prison. Those bricks certainly stunned me. Lucky you're not hurt too. How will we get out of this? With clever maneuvers of his animal-like powers, the Catman scales the walls of the dungeon and escapes, with the girl through a small light shaft some 20 feet from the ground. Lucky for us that this air vent was left open. I'm going to leave you off at the jailhouse. You'll be safe there until I settle with Bull. I never knew any human being could possibly make leaps as you do. Back at Bull's hideout, he is raging at the Catman's escape from the dungeon.
You fools! Why didn't you guard them? Go after him again. He seems to know all our hideouts. Nobody ever got out of the dungeon before, boss. You gonna read?
Yeah, well, no, I am just. I was just checking the chat. Bull leaves himself alone and sends his men looking for the Catman when suddenly. All right. I thought you'd be alone. I thought you'd be alone, Bull, as your men are probably hunting for me.
Huh?
Oh,
This is the one time I've outwitted you, my sucker friend.
slick,
My suck
slick.
friend. My slick friend, okay. Well,
The knife wound kills the Catman.
that for you. Now get that girl. She knows too much. Okay. You wanted her to do something on air for you, and it was like she knows too much. She'd always know too much because you would have her out signaling your guys from her nose.
Bull learns of the girl's whereabouts and plans a daring attack on the jail.
I'll get that girl if I have to wreck that jail.
In the jailhouse, the girl is talking to the warden. I'm uneasy about the Catman. We should look for him.
He left you in my care, and I'm going to keep you here until he comes for you. He'll be okay.
The gangsters break into the warden's office and attack the guards.
We'll kill a lot of you, just like I killed the Catman.
The Catman dead? Meanwhile, the spirit of his guardian reaches the Catman as he dies. Members of the cat family have 9 lives. Bill Jackson took one of them, his guardian angel, in the form of the old tigress that mothered him, gives him the second of his 9 lives. Well, there you go. So his you can okay. So here's another thing in terms of how he figured out what justice was. His tigress mother, right, was his guardian angel. So she's basically a deity. So she might have. So here's a thought. Maybe she had some, maybe she had more knowledge than a typical tiger or tigress would have.
I guess it's possible, but I think it's a bit far-fetched. But
isn't that what most superhero cartoons and comics are? A bit far-fetched at times?
Yeah, well, this seems a touch above, but like you said, it's a comic.
I mean, I think that's par for the course if you think about it. But
yeah.
Anyways, that was an unearthly sleep. I must get to Stella. I feel she is in danger. He dashes to the jailhouse and enters the warden's office in the midst of them.
Holy smoke! I thought I just left you dead. What are you trying to do? Haunt me?
Thank goodness you are alive. I'm going to show you a few fighting tricks I learned in the jungle. Crash!
I'll get life for the crimes. They'll pin on me. Bill Jackson, licked by a dead man. Can't you beat that? Can you beat that?
You were the warden.
Okay. How did they find out Miss Richards was here?
I planted a tip that she was here with you, as I was certain they would break into jail together. Now you've got them. You are a clever man. Yeah, but that wasn't too keen. He essentially used Stella Richards there as bait.
Yeah.
That some people might find that unheroic.
Yeah. Well, then there's the thing. What if he didn't come back to life? He didn't know he was going to get shot or killed or whatever, and then come back to life either.
I don't know, because it's possible maybe he did know. On some level, he did know he would come back to life. They didn't really elaborate on that in the story here, but it's quite possible that even if he didn't necessarily have a conscient idea that he would come back to life, maybe he had more of an instinctive impression that he might come back to life. Possible.
Yeah.
You're the warden there.
Well, I didn't think you read her. Yeah.
I did read her.
Oh, okay. You've been mighty helpful. I'd like to have a man like you on the force.
Thanks, Commissioner, but I must play a lone hand. Don't miss this sensational new character, the phenomenal Catman, in the next issue, in the next and every issue of Crash Comics. Now, of course, as we learned earlier from when we did the intro, He'd only last in Crash Comics until the 10, which was actually issue number 5, and then he'd get his own title, Catman Comics.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we're done with that story. So overall impressions, Rick.
I think a little bit better than the last one, but these guys are really stretching it,
In terms of the leaps of logic and all that.
Yeah, it's funny. They like to skim over details, but unfortunately, although Catman did go on to star in his own comic book for 30 plus issues, that's not too bad. That's just over 2 years worth of
Oh,
comics.
remember this is the first story, right? I'm
Yeah.
sure they'll iron out some of the details as time goes on. That's usually what happens. Sometimes the earlier stuff is a little rough because they're still establishing canon.
Yeah.
Once they
Well,
establish
although they
canon,
didn't really think about canon back then, but yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, it's a first issue. Frankly, I found Batman's first appearance a little bit better than this. But like I said, he does Crash Comics. What goes to 5? This is 4. So they do.
yeah.
Um, you know, so they really did Crash. And then I think another one you said it only goes to 3, which is this too.
The one we'll be reading from next, Whirlwind Comics.
So
Holyoke still stayed around because Holyoke had, of course, Catman comic. They actually, for a while there, would take over. I believe it was the Blue Beetle title for. The Blue Beetle title for a while there too, from issues like 12 to 31, I believe.
Yeah, and if I'm looking at the stuff in the behind, yeah, well, I do see Blue Beetle there. He's gonna have Green Hornet. So a couple big names for sure. It's just at this point, I do think the writing leaves a little bit to be desired, but and maybe that's why Crash Comics crashed.
It's still early on. Holyoke kind of stuck around for a while throughout the 40s into the early 50s. So,
yeah.
Anyways,
we've like I said, we've seen the writing improve in some comic book companies, and some don't, and that's usually the ones that don't burn, crash and burn. And
mm-hmm. Now let's get ready to move on to the last book we'll be doing tonight. As I get the Holyoke Whirlwind number 3, we'll look at Cyclone. So that's like 13 pages. That should take a good chunk of the rest of the time before, of course, doing Actually, I do need to step away from the computer for a moment. So before we do get started with this last story, Rick, if you want to talk to the chat for a moment while I'm gone, I'll be right back.
yeah. Well, as I said earlier, the Ashcan, Canadian Shield Ashcan, and Canadian Shield 1 Remastered are now on Cross Comics site digitally for free. So there's a link to the page where they're on that you can just download. Should be able to click them, they'll come up as a PDF, and then you can download. So Yeah. I'm not sure what else to say while waiting. Hopefully you're enjoying the stories. Um, what did you make of Catman, Fitzchozo? Did you enjoy the story? Not very interesting. I could agree with that. But these are the comics that made us, or allowed us to do what we're doing nowadays, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have what we have. So in that way, I appreciate them. It's just very interesting at times. It's interesting to see how horrible they are in a sense.
It does, again, these retrospects give us an idea of what, how comics were done back then. Some were better, some were worse. Maybe
Yeah.
you do see, you kind of get an idea of why, like some comics like DC, Marvel, why they lasted up until current day. Why
Yeah.
maybe others like Fawcett or Quality or even like Holyoke here, are long gone. It's like, I think you kind of get the idea of how things progressed over time. You know, as things. Anyways, with that being said, let's get into this last story. We're already at hour 33 here, so this is going to be. I think we've had a pretty good time here. Whirlwind Comics number 3, 10 cents. September. Scoop Hanlon. Wings Borden. Magic Mandarin. Bruce Borden. Yeah, I know. Some of the Magic Mandarin. And I don't. This might be Cyclone on the cover here for all we know. But anyways, let's see now. Cyclone. The Cyclone is a tornado in human form who strikes at crime while with the speed and force of a hurricane. He moves with the swiftness of the wind, always on the side of law and order. A fishing boat sails into port. We made a good haul this trip.
Yeah, we got lots of fish.
Suddenly, a speedboat comes alongside. There's a boat pulling up. Oh, that's you.
There's a boat pulling up, boss.
It's the mugs. It's the mug. Oh, it's the Mugs Mullins mob. They're gangsters.
Wonder what they want with us.
I'm Mugs Mullen.
Your way, we're coming aboard.
We're the Fishermen's Protective Committee. Pay us $500 or you land no fish. We'll never pay you, hoodlums. A cent. Now get off my boat. Then take that. Crack!
You guys better pay closer attention to the boss when he speaks.
You water rat.
Smash him, mugs!
At that moment, Peter Blake is buying fish. I want 5 pounds of haddock. What's all that noise in the harbor?
What?
Go ahead.
Oh, just a fight on the fishing boat. Those dumb fishermen are always fighting.
Let's see. Peter slips into an alley and becomes. I'll investigate as a cyclone and see what this argument seems to be about. He makes a mad dash to the end of the wharf and looks like it'll be a little jump. Look at that guy.
Jeez, some speed.
I must reach the middle of the harbor. This is my first stop. Well, at least you got a lot of action going on early on here.
Yeah.
Again, the cyclone leaks. I hate to butt into other people's business too much, but this looks like something fishy in this harbor, and this isn't Denmark.
I just want to know how you. I know sound travels across the water a little bit better, but it seems a bit far out for him to actually hear about the fighting. But anyways.
To a coal barge. Pardon my intrusion.
What?
He runs along the tow rope. It's like old days in the circus. To the following barge. One more jump will make it. After another leap, he lands on the fishing boat. That one just seemed to do the trick. They're basically jumping from barge to barge to get to the boat.
Yeah, so it's quite a ways out there. So to me, it makes no sense that he'd actually hear it or realize it's anybody'd hear it and realize it's some people fighting.
Well, if they're loud enough, then anybody could probably hear, even if they are a bit out.
It's your cyclone, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna get there.
Okay. Didn't realize you were doing something.
Yeah, thought someone might need some assistance. Who asked you to butt? Who asked you to butt in? I'm the boss here. He's not. He's a racketeer. Why, you big mouth? The cyclone reaches for a fish. Leave him alone. Whack!
It's an insult to the new boss. To the boss. Shoot the wise guy. We'll mow him down.
Yeah, that's what I did. I just do it a little bit different. I go.
Yeah. Oh, geez, rat-tat-tat. Geez. I guess there's some Morse code there.
The cyclone leaps for a rope. You boys take some shooting lessons. Zing, zing, zing.
Heck, this guy's seeming more like Batman than the last guy.
You are the gangster, sir.
Oh.
Sweet dreams. It's good exercise.
I'll get him with the knife.
It's the mule in me. Look at that nice mule kick.
Yeah.
Now's my chance to pin him to the deck. The cyclone reaches for a fish. I've got to work fast. This should stop that knife. Look at that, you just threw the fish into the path of the knife there.
Yeah. This guy is very, this guy seems more Batman-esque to me than Catman. And he hasn't even displayed his powers yet.
The cyclone somersaults to his feet. Muggs Mullins seizes a harpoon. Here's a handy thing. I'll harpoon him like a whale.
Yeah, well, a whale's big and provides a bigger target.
But the cyclone ducks. You aim too high. The cyclone seizes a swordfish. Two can play at harpooning. What the? Plunk! Help, I'm stuck! Meanwhile, just above the cyclone,
he's right under me now. He won't get away this time.
Smash!
He's so cold, boss. Let's tie him up in a bag.
And throw him to the fishes. It's a great idea.
Tie him up tight. Good riddance.
The cool water revives the cyclone. I've got to do something. I know I'll break my goggles and use the broken glass. I'll cut my way out. There. Now to get back to the boat. Phew. That was a close shave. Now I have a score to settle with those thugs.
He's a ghost. Don't be dumb. Shoot him. How do you like this, wise guy? Shoot him down. Dare
Shoot
you.
him down. Oh wait, no. I think you say there he goes, and I say shoot him down.
Okay. There he goes.
Shoot him down. A miss is as good as a mile. The cyclone seizes a big net aloft. Ah, a net. He casts the net.
I'm tangled up. Can't move.
What's this?
Hey.
The cyclone tightens the net. Quite a haul I've made.
Let us out. We'll give you $1,000.
No. Wait. All right. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Do all three there.
Okay.
I don't know.
Let us out. We'll give you $1,000.
There's one in the one bottom left.
Yeah. How'd we get in this mess? Make it 2,000.
The harbor police arrive. Ahoy! There, what's wrong? Good riddance. What the? It's Muggs Mullen and his gang. This is a cyclone's work. The police board the fishing boat. Wait, we want to talk to you. The cyclone leaps for the gangster speedboat. I haven't time to chat. I'll get back into my street clothes from that alley. A few minutes later, as I was saying, I want 5 pounds of haddock. Follow the adventures of the cyclone in each issue of Whirlwind Comics. All right, so overall impressions of this story, Rick?
I actually like this one a lot. I thought it was pretty good. It did seem really Batman-esque, more of the campy type Batman, from Adam West's era. So Batman with a bit of Spider-Man thrown in, I guess you could say. So, yeah, I really like this story.
All right. Yeah, so anything more you want to add to that before we get to the last little concluding part there and into this?
Not sure what else I can say because I'm gonna have to say a bit here in a second about this probably.
Well, because there's one more part to the comic book review portion of the show that we're about to do.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you'll have a little bit more say then. So without further ado, let me ask the first question, of course. So we read 3 features tonight. Of the 3 features, which one did you like the best or made the best impression? Or which one did you like the most or made the best impression? And why?
Well, I definitely will say the third one made the best impression.
Cyclone?
Yeah. It just seemed a lot more fun. It didn't seem too out there, like I said. Reminded me of a Spider-Man Batman combo. I thought he had powers, but apparently he didn't seem to use any powers. So that confuses me a little bit, but that's fine. Maybe he's got a little bit of super strength, but I did like how he, boom, 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 boom. And I mentioned it. There was that one leap in logic about hearing the fight go on, but you know, I guess I can overlook that for the most part, but yeah, it just seemed a fun. It was a real fun read. This one, I think that's why out of all of them, it was the most fun. It didn't wasn't quite as leap in logic as the other two as most. So obviously, Cyclone was my favorite of the three tonight.
All right. All right. Well, with that being said, of the two remaining, which one did you like the least, or made the least impression, and why?
Now it's actually a very hard toss up because because I've been thinking
You didn't really care too much for either the first two.
yeah. So I'm not sure which one is just that little lower.
Well, they were the two features were, of course, Catman and Strongman.
You know what? I'm going to say Strongman just because the Catman, it was just a little bit more entertaining. It wasn't quite as boring, you know. Yeah, there was definitely some leaps in logic, and I have some questions, a lot of questions based on that first paragraph thing. But this Strongman, I can't even completely remember. He was trying to overthrow a dictator or something like that, I think.
Yeah, that's what it was. Well, okay. What had happened was Maslow, the bad guy, took over the country of Scanlandia.
Yeah. Scandinavia, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quality has a whole bunch of made-up countries, that they use for, to set up stuff for. But basically, with it, so Strongman would be the one that you like. So Cyclone was the one you liked the best, and Strongman was the one you liked the least.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely in some ways they made an impression, not a good one.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing too, and I can see why, it's a little bit easier to let Catman kind of fall into the middle here, because that was just the first story. We don't know how things will progress over time. It might get better because, as we noted earlier, it actually got its own title there for quite a while. So,
over 2 years. So that's an accomplishment. I can't say that's not an accomplishment. I'm not sure whether Strongman, I think, got his own title too. I could be wrong, but I do see, the picture of him on cover there, but that could be for Crash Comics or whatever. So it's hard to say. But these are definitely characters that even though I wasn't really impressed with them, I think they could be revived and really something done with them better nowadays. Somebody wanted to do.
It's kind of funny because I think one of the things we saw earlier when we were doing the intro, right, was that I think Catman actually was picked up in, I think it was the 80s by AC Comics.
Yeah.
And they did do some new stories in the 80s there. So that was something.
They can form some sort of team. You could take Strongman. He's just Superman. You could take Catman with Kitten and add in, maybe Cyclone. Although he doesn't seem to have any powers, he's more, like I said, he seemed very acrobatic. So I guess he could.
Well, Cyclone may have been more in the mold of Batman in terms of maybe he didn't have unlike with Catman there, didn't have the tragic background. But you have to remember too, a lot of the vigilantes or the mystery men, as they were called back then, right?
Yeah.
A lot of them didn't really, the ones who actually had superpowers, right, they were more in the minority. Most of the heroes from the Golden Age were just, basically well-trained human beings. They had normal strengths and weaknesses. They were, they didn't really have any, like, quote unquote superpowers. There wasn't like the whole idea of the metagene working or anything like that. You may have had your small handful of superheroes, but most of the rest of them were just normal people, who just basically put on a costume, used, and basically were private detectives with certain different levels of fighting skills. Some had more training in martial arts or fighting skills, and others, did.
Fitzchozo said bye about 3 minutes ago, so he's probably not here to hear me. But see you, Fitzchozo. Bye. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Although I think there's more than what we think of with superpowers. I think it was about half and half.
Mm-hmm.
At least, especially after Superman.
Mm-hmm.
I think it slowly develops a lot more into what happened.
Well, I think once we got it, into the Silver Age, right? We got Earth One, a lot like more of the Earth One heroes. Yeah. And post Crisis, at least on the DC side of it, you had more people coming out with more superpowers. Everybody had some, obviously each company had their own, superhero type, had their kind of Superman, Batman archetypes, here Strongman and Catman would seem to be their Superman and Batman archetypes. You look like at Fawcett, for example, you had Captain Marvel, who is so much of a Superman archetype that they actually sued him over it.
Yeah. But there's quite a few other ones, and there's
magician,
Yeah, there's magicians. Magicians.
Yeah.
So magicians could be considered super powered too. Not like Superman, of course, but then there's Green Lantern and Hawkman. Although they're not too far away. I don't know. Are they out yet in DC? Green Lantern, Hawkman.
No, they're not out yet. I think we are actually. Green Lantern might have just, if he hasn't already, he probably will pretty soon be, because I think he debuted in All American Comics number 16. I just don't know if we've hit on that yet or not. So,
yeah, I'm just, of course, there's Wonder Woman coming up too. But when I think about a bunch of the other ones that you've read, yeah, you have a lot of your cartoony type ones, like Archie or whatever type ones, your slice of life stuff. But there's a lot of, I think, characters with powers, and yes, there's a lot of characters just that are detective-like too. I'll agree with that for sure. So I think
it's a lot. It's a lot of the features here were a lot of hodgepodge. You had your superheroes, but you also had some of your slice life, as you mentioned. You had your like aviators. You had your war comics. You had, you even had romance comics back here.
Yeah.
So, anyways, let's get ready to move on. Let's get ready to start kind of
this weekend in each history.
Right. Let's try to wrap things up here. We're right just about at the 2-hour mark, so I know we're going to go over a little bit here, but that's all right. So, with today, of course, being Sunday, January 4th, 2026, let's take a look back at this weekend in Needs History. And first, I'm going to, of course, hit up yesterday. As the first thing we're going to do, we're going to go back 70 years ago yesterday, back to 1956. Yesterday, 1956, is on yesterday's date, 70 years ago, January 3rd, 1956, The 50th issue of Mr. District Attorney went on sale on newsstands on yesterday's date. 70 years ago, it sold for 10 cents for 30. So Mr. District Attorney, I believe, was more of a kind of a crime drama type comic that focused in on a district attorney. So the
Yeah, I guess so.
Features included the case of Frank Bragan, Little Shot, the convict in Coach 14, the case of the blind eyewitness, and then, of course, the case of the flying burglar alarm. So 70 years ago, yesterday, the 50th issue of Mr. District Attorney went on sale from DC. At that time, of course, under the name National Comics Publications. Now, moving on ahead to 1996, on yesterday's date in 1996, as it were. Actually, in fact, wishing a happy belated 30th birthday to English actress Florence Pugh. Now, for the most part, most people wouldn't really know her too much, but I think the two biggest roles she's had, or two most well-known roles that people in our circle might know her from, whereas the English voice of Kiriko in The Boy and the Heron, which was just out a couple of years ago, that was the anime movie, came out within the last year or so, and Yelena Boliva in Marvel Zombies. So happy belated 30th birthday to Florence Pugh, who was born on yesterday's date back in 1996. Now, moving on to today, we head back 50 years ago yesterday, as on yesterday's date.
Yesterday or today?
Or 50 years ago today. Thank you.
It had already gone up like 10 years or something like that for the person that his birthday was. So,
yeah, 50 years ago today, Nippon Animation's 3,000 Leagues in Search of Mother premiered on Japanese television on this date 50 years ago today. 3,000 Leagues in Search of Mother is a Japanese animated television series directed by Isao Takahata that aired in 1976. It is loosely based on a small part of the Italian novel Heart, Cuore, created by Edmondo de Amicis, i.e. a monthly tale from the Apennines to the Andes, widely expanded into a 52-episode epic. All right, so 50 years ago today, the premiere of Nippon Animation's 3,000 Leagues in Search of Mother. And finally, on this date 15 years ago today, New Japan's fifth Wrestle Kingdom happened on this date back in 2011. So 15 years ago today, the fifth Wrestle Kingdom event, which came from the Tokyo Dome in Tokyo, Japan. The main event saw Hiroshi Tanahashi defeat Satoshi Kojima to become the new IWGP heavyweight champion. Now, of course, Tanahashi just had his retirement match earlier today in Japan, having lost to Kazuchika Okada in his retirement match.
Well, that sucks. Too bad he couldn't go out on a win.
Well, yeah, some people the way they put it, the way they did it was he probably was like kind of pass, even though it might not have been considered necessary. He was probably passing the torch on to Okada as the guy now in Japanese wrestling. That's, I think, the thing. Let's see. Also on this date, 15 years ago, Jeff Hardy retained the TNA World Heavyweight title over Tetsuya Naito. Prince DeWitt, who currently wrestles as Finn Balor in the WWE, defeated Kota Ibushi to retain the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. Yuji Nagata defeated Minoru Suzuki, 1650. Rob Van Dam defeated Toru Yano. Let's see. In a match for the IWGP Tag Team Champions in a three-way match, the team of Bad Intentions of Giant Bernard, known to WWE fans as Albert, and Carl Anderson, defeated Beer Money Inc. From TNA of Robert Roode and James Storm, and Muscle Orchestra of Manabu Nakanishi and Strongman in a three-way tag team match. And the show opened up with Koji Kanemoto and Kyusuke Taguchi defeating Kenny Omega and Taichi in just over 8 minutes. So 15 years ago today, the fifth Wrestle Kingdom occurred from the Tokyo Dome, and is a annual event. Basically, Wrestle Kingdom is New Japan's WrestleMania for all intents and purposes, basically. To kind of give you an idea of why such a big deal. And that right there was it. So with that, well, before we go, Rick, would you like to do any like last minute promoting of any projects you're doing, any special shows you got coming this week on your channel? I think you know the shtick, right?
This week I should be starting up a bunch of my shows again for the new year. Well, actually, I'll be starting up. I'm going to be doing tomorrow Manga Monday. I'll be drawing some manga character. I'm thinking Inferno from My Hero Academia. Tuesday, I'm doing something. Probably Thursday, I'm going to draw a DC or Marvel character. Not Thursday. Wednesday to do a DC or Marvel character. Thursday, the Silhouette Game is back for season 2. Then Monday through Friday, Tuesday through Friday this week. In the morning, I'm going to do probably an hour show before I go to work. Either drawing up lesser known Bible stories or Insecto number 1. And then I'll have coloring up something on Saturday morning. So, yeah, got a lot of stuff going on. And of course, I just put up today on my website that you can get Canadian Shield 1 digitally for free to read, or the Ash Can. So you can just go to that link and they're there to click, bring you PDF, and then you can download it. So, yeah, a lot going on for Cross Comics at the moment. So, and then of course I'm going to be starting up on getting Snowdrift 2 done. So, Raul says I need it for free. Hey, Raul.
All right. So with that, I thank everybody for being here tonight. I hope to see you, and we'll be back here with more Niche News tomorrow. Next week, of course, we'll be continuing our look back at comics that went on sale in July of 1940. Hey, sir. All right. Anyways, we'll have more Niche News tomorrow, of course, and then next week, I'll be joined by Sabrina from Double Flyer Momentum, as we will be looking at comics that went on sale. I believe we'll be looking at comics that went on sale from Lev Gleason in July of 1940. So with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.